Unsyndicated presents What the Puck with Sean Baligian.
Hi, how are you? He's Mike. I'm Sean. Welcome to another edition of What the Puck. Mike, a lot of things to get into tonight. I'm going to bring this up just as like a show starter because I want to start with something else. But I think it's safe to say the Wings are passing the test so far. The difficult portion of the test is coming up, but this is an area of time that you and I talked about, heck, like a month ago, saying, all right, let's see what happens coming into the Four Nations.
Yeah, we said February 1st, February 1st, and now I think we kind of have to own it, right? Well, the 8th is the Four Nations, but this tough part. So, and this is the funny thing, you say the tough part of the schedule, like it was 7 playoff teams in 8 games that they were going to face. But what we'll get to later, I'm sure at some point, is what's after the Four Nations for them, Sean, is the hardest schedule in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
It is without merit. It's the number one. But up to this point, we said it in the 7 of the games. There's still a couple games left. They're 4-3, Sean, and the last 3 games they've done nothing but get better, do what they've got to do, and I mean, what they beat the Habs, they beat the Lightning. They beat the Lightning, and then they out-kinged the Kings, which I thought was the most impressive of them. I know you don't want to talk about the Habs were sloppy in that game.
Terrible.
Against the Wings. The Wings got to win that game the way the Habs play. They just out-kings the Kings, and you know how I feel about the Kings in the last game, and that it's nothing but impressive, Sean.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Tom in London, Ontario. Good evening, Sean and Mike. So, Mike, let me say this: Wings passing the test so far. We're going to get back to that because I think when you look at the stretch, anytime you talk about like the road stretch that they're going to get on, the West Coast swing is brutal, and heading into the Four Nations, I think it kind of ends the way it started, if you will. I need to get your thoughts on something that really pissed me off. And you and I were just kind of talking about this.
Okay.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, Mike, you know me. And I'm a recovering hothead, but my hothead is still there. And if somebody messes like with my buddy Mike, I'll be the first guy to jump on the guy and punch him in his temple. But I literally, a mutual friend of ours, Hubie, who's been a part of this. Hubie sent us that clip of Mark Stone last night. The first thing that I thought is I would probably get suspended because I beat him unmercifully, and then I would toss him around like a rag doll. I was so angry. For what it's worth, the NHL has said that there is not going to be any disciplinary action. Now, you and I don't want to say we have different views on it because I think we're kind of barking up the same tree. But I want to hear your take on it and maybe some other people out there. If you haven't seen the Mark Stone hit, okay, take a second, come right back, please. Take a second, watch what happened last night, and then we can react, okay? But Mike, your take, my friend.
So real quick before we go, friend of the show, Austin, who we often have his comments, surprised no hearing and fine, but then he mentions the Kucherov trip. So I'll start mine with the Kucherov trip was 100% worse than this.
It was gross.
That was gross. It was 100% worse than this.
I won't go that far, but it was gross. How's that?
So yeah. So me and you are on the same. We talked about this, and all I kept saying is I keep looking for different angles. I literally, once you said you wanted to talk about it, I'm like, I've got to find another angle to see if I'm seeing what I'm seeing. So I see Mark Stone taking awful angle on Heiskanen to try to on the forecheck. I see Roope Hentz's stick hit his blade, his plant leg that's in there. Now, does he need to go forward? I think that's a bad hockey play, what he was doing. But Hentz's stick, I think, had something to do with it. I can't get a definitive angle on it. I wish I could. Maybe the NHL has that. That's why there was no hearing. But the tell for me, Sean, is right off the bat, like what you said. Punch, temple, throat, thorax, dead, right?
Yep.
Hintz didn't do anything. It's almost like he said, that sucked, my bad, right? And even DeBoer went right to saying, hey, this isn't a dirty guy. And I know you've got a story something that you have from the OHL.
One suspension, and I cross-check to the head if my memory serves me correct.
But I couldn't see anything in there that to me would say there needed to be a hearing, there needs to be a suspension, unless there is an angle that says Roope Hentz's stick was nowhere near it. And if so, Roope Hentz needs to be suspended right along with him for not doing something right there.
Oh, does Todd have it? Does Todd, do you have the hit? Oh, this will be interesting.
All right. So I do not have this angle.
Yeah, I haven't seen this angle.
So, right, it does. His stick comes through his blade, Sean, and you see it. You see it move.
Roope Hintz here. It's Roope Hintz here. Its stick goes in.
Show that again. Show that again. I can sit here and watch this shit all night.
Roope Hintz here. Its stick goes in.
It turns it, Sean. It turns his. Now here's the thing: bad angle. Bad hockey play by Stone.
You just save that thought. Hold on.
So you look at Roope.
No, Mike, finish that thought. But I want to go back to the first part of that comment because this is why I thought he might be screwed. But go on. Sorry to interrupt.
I was just saying, bad hockey play on the angle that he took. Then as he's coming back, you can clearly see right here. Todd did a masterful job of stopping it. The stick is on his skate, and you'll see his skate turn. Now, he does not have to dive after him, but Sean, when you're out there and you're in the heat of battle and you're going for that puck, it's a bad hockey play is what that is, and that does not get suspended.
See, you know what? I have learned how to speak fluent NHL. No, really, I have. Was it a hockey play? Is the huge? I mean, whether we want to admit it or not is inconsequential. That didn't look like a hockey play in any way, shape, or form to me, Mike. Now, again, that angle, in fairness, what Todd just showed me, and I did not see that overhead, so great job, Todd. That's why we paid Todd the big bucks. All jokes aside, I did not. That at least opens up the interpretation that maybe, just maybe it did. But I'm using, again, their vernacular. This isn't Sean's vernacular. This isn't Mike's vernacular. This is their vernacular. How many times when you watch I'm fascinated by watching those hearings. I'm because a lot of times there are certain buzzwords, and hockey play is one of those. Do you know what it looked like to me? It looked like exactly part of what Stone said. He was gassed. He wanted to get off the ice. There was a little frustration. That's now, he didn't say that last part, but that's what it looked like to me. And I would have given him a lot of frustration because honestly, I would have punched him as hard as I could in the side of his head. If I was his teammate, I would have punched him as hard as I could in the side of his head. And Mike, I think Mark Stone's been around long enough, accident or not, he might have to answer the bell for that eventually. He might have to answer the bell for that eventually.
He will. There's not a might of it. It was, again, you use the term, we've said it, hockey play. It was a bad hockey play. If you go through and you watch, let's say there's been 675 games so far this year in the NHL. A very similar play has happened in every single game where someone takes a bad angle, they stretch out, they leave their feet, they're diving to make a play. And I don't know how many times, but I'm going to say not many, if any, where someone gets hurt, then someone gets seriously hurt. You made a play, whether clean, dirty, on purpose or not, you made a play that injured somebody. You're going to have to. And in my opinion, Mark Stone is going to stand up and answer that bell.
He has to.
He has to. And Mark Stone's not a small. He's not going to be afraid. He probably knows it's coming. Sean, nowadays they'll text him. They know when it's coming, and it'll be right off a face-off. Maybe the opening face-off. He'll say, "Hey, put me out there. I'm going to do this. This is what." So that is part of the game that's going to happen, but that doesn't make it a dirty play. What he did.
6'4", 220. He's a big boy, and he's going to have to answer the bell. I'd still punch him. Okay, so here's Mike. This is one thing for me, and I know you and I talked a lot about this last year. I think our generation. Let me read some comments very quickly before we do that.
Yeah.
Good day tomorrow at Edmonton and Hockey Night in Canada, Calgary, Saturday night. Going to be fun. Looking forward to this weekend. Austin said, surprise, no hearing. Fine, anything at all for Kucherov. Going to have to settle it the old-fashioned way on February 8th. There's the reason why Mike and I have been saying early February. Mike, I think we extend this to February 8th now, and that's part of the reason. Austin said Stone hit was suspension worthy as well. Both Kucherov and Stone plays were avoidable plays. NHL, really all leagues are inconsistent with their punishments. Good news is hockey polices itself. Respectfully and professionally disagree with your take, but love you guys. We can differ opinions like mature adults. Austin, you're closer to me than you are to Mike. There's no doubt about it. This is where I keep hockey play is that there was nothing in that looked like a hockey play to me. That's just me. There's nothing in that looked like, and that's what pissed me off. But here, let me go on my rant for just a second. That reminded me of poor Pat Peake. Don't.
Awful.
Don't.
Awful. Rule change.
Shout out to Peaker, by the way. Love you. Okay, so Mike.
Yep.
Our generation is funny. We're very hypocritical. My generation. We are. I think you and I talked about this last year.
Yep.
I think out of one side of our mouth, we talk about how soft the league is today. Okay, we do. And out of the other side of our mouth, we and all that stuff. I like the league today. I'm not going to lie. I do. I like the league today. I like that there's an impetus on speed. I like that you get smaller guys out there that have an incredible skill set that those guys would have never survived 30 years ago. Never in a million years. There would be no Quinn Hughes. There would be no Cole Caulfield. Or at least they would be few and far between because Mats Naslund had some success. He was small. Håkan Lube had some success. He was small. I enjoy that type of stuff. I think that's a big change. And oh, by the way, all these small guys have done a really good job of building themselves up as well. And a lot of them putting on size. But one thing that hasn't changed, okay, while we're waxing poetically and watching our fight videos and everything, is that what you said. There has probably already been a text to Mark Stone from somebody saying, Mark, love you, bro. And I'm not even saying you did that on purpose.
Yep.
But the next time that we see you go ahead and pick somebody from our roster. We're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. So you pick somebody and don't pick one of the wusses, damn it. You pick somebody and we can settle it and we're just going to police it ourselves.
And we know that's happened. We know that has happened. We'll even give you the choice of which of these guys you can go after. Now, where the NHL is, and I do everything you said. I agree with. The one thing that I can't stand, and it has nothing to do with that, with him having to answer the bell, is the clean, legal, hard check where people have to. That's not what we're talking about here.
No.
He took out a star, whether it was purposeful or not. We'll never get inside of his head. We'll never know the intent of it, and we should never really investigate the intent of it. The end result was a star being hurt. He's got to answer the bell. It wasn't a check where it was a legal, clean kind of play. It just happened. This was an unfortunate incident where their guy's probably going to be out for a while, if not the season. I don't have the final results on the knee there, but that's awful. And again, And even to get to what shocks me, Sean, is Kucherov goes Kucherov. There's a history there.
1,000%.
I cannot believe he did not get called. He did not get called for that. That is blowing my mind because Stone is now on notice. You can't have another incident, Mr. Stone, because now it's a habit. Cooch has habits of going Cooch, and we love him for it because we love the hotheads that can score goals. But the fact that he did not receive a call for at least an over-the-phone kind of conversation about it blows my mind.
Really, absolutely, both of them. To be honest with you, I'm not going to lie. I can't take that back. Ray said, if the NFL didn't have the instigator rule, would all these incidents be happening? Go.
I was just to say, I think they've worked themselves away from the instigator thing by they just know that this is what you're going to have to do. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's a problem. And like I said, I think these things happen where someone gets hurt. You know, the next game you're going to have to, and like I said, you may even get a choice of who it's going to be, but it's going to happen. So you don't need the instigator. They're going to go at the same time. We don't have to worry about the instigator rule. I think I still, you know me, I don't need the fighting. I don't need all those things, but I don't think the instigator rule is going to have anything to do with this.
Tim said, remember how McCarty reacted to what Claude Lemieux did in 96? I was never more ashamed to be a Wing fan. What are you talking about when he jumped him in 97? Give me the context, because what Claude did was dirty as sin. Period. There's nobody else. You can't like. I think Claude would, if we had Claude Lemieux on here, he'd say the same thing. That, boy, I wish I could take that one back. It was a dirty, unnecessary hit.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear. And his teammates, he wasn't the lone coward.
What? I don't.
Darren McCarty. I need this to be elaborated. This could be a whole show.
Yeah, I'm not sure in which context that you're taking it. Hold on. Will the Red Wings be buyers? I would be stunned, Duff Mike. I would be stunned, and I'll tell you why. Because I would be asking for everything that the fan base and Steve Yzerman do not want to give up.
I see. Did you see his response down here, Sean?
What?
Does that make that? It makes more sense now. What he's talking about, that they didn't immediately do it.
Oh, you know what's funny? You know the backstory behind that, right? The game's going on. They're fighting for their life. The guys didn't really know what happened. So if you remember the famous Dino Ciccarelli,
right? Yeah.
Because they lost. Claude comes back out. They shake hands, and then in the locker room they saw the hit. They literally saw the hit. And if you remember what Dino said, Dino was like, I can't believe I shook that beep, 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 beep hand. That makes me sick. So the guys, as the game is going on, they didn't really know what happened in that moment. They knew that Draper obviously got hit and got it. But what Claude did was just one of those unnecessary, I hate to say it, unwritten rule type of thing. It's like the Chara. Do you remember the big Chara hit 13, 14 years ago on Pacioretty where he broke his neck?
Broke his neck, yeah.
Don't tell me you don't know where he was on the ice. Right. Like that was my biggest issue. And Mr. Chara, please don't beat me up. But honestly, my Zdeno Chara is one of the smartest, intelligent players out there. Okay, don't take my word for it. I didn't know where he was. Stop it. You knew exactly where he was. Just drop that. That's the kind of crap that drives me out of my mind.
And you're 100% right, because it's so easily met with just say, I did not intend to do that.
You got it.
I knew where he was. I was going to hit him. I was going to put him through the fucking wall. I did not want to break his frickin' neck. There's two totally different things, and that's all you need to say.
Yeah, that's. But you know what? It's one of those things, Mike, where again, this is I'm a firm believer in time and place. Okay. Do I think that the league should have looked at that with a fine-tooth comb? Absolutely. They aren't. But regardless, even if they did look at it, it is, as our buddy Jimmy put it. I saw Jimmy's comment. Where did it go?
Take the license plate.
Yep. Take the license plate number. Take the license plate number. You know what? Well, I'll see you. It might not be the next time we see you. It might not be the second time that we see you, but it's coming. It's definitely coming.
And I think that's something that our generation has to get over, Sean, because as soon as something happened back in our day, Sean, as soon as something happened, it was on. Someone was coming over the boards. It was on. Now there's an emphasis. We're going to win this game. And when there's a moment that it doesn't matter, it's not going to impact what we need to do, we're going to do this. So it has kind of moved away in a way, but there's always a time and place, like you said.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let me do a read. And Ray brought up something near and dear to my heart, which, Ray, I have my doubts. I really, really, really have my doubts. But I hope I'm wrong. I really, truly mean that. I hope I'm wrong. If you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than those two handsome fellas right there. The guys behind the Wealth Advantage Group. They're located in historic downtown Northville and owned by the Handsome brothers right there. That's Mike Cusack on the left, Jeff Cusack on the right. 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are, and that's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, already in retirement, they can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life and have clients in over 20 different states. Look, the investment world is a complex one, but if you are ready, I mean, really ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it's time that you work with the experts. This is what they do for a living. Reach out to the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574 or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Tell them Sean sent you. They're going to take care of you. Once you're part of the family, you're part of the family. Mike, race. I like when you guys throw other topics up there. I'm serious.
This is great.
Boy, twist my arm to talk hockey. Ottawa is playing some preseason games in Quebec next season. What chance do you give Quebec of getting a team? Next to zero. I hope I'm dead wrong. I pray I'm dead wrong. It was one of the coolest places I've ever been, in one of the coolest cities in North America. And I mean that in all sincerity. Mike, have you ever been up there? Did you ever make it up to Quebec City?
I have not. You wouldn't let me go. I think I was going with the French Terminator and you said, not today.
It honestly, it is one of the coolest cities. Man, I loved those jerseys. I hated that team.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you. There was a time where I hated the Nordique more than I hated the Bruins. There really was. The early 80s, I hated the Nordique more than I hated the Bruins. But those jerseys, gosh, with the fleur-de-lis along the bottom. Ray, I pray I'm wrong. I I do not see Bettman and company putting another team in that market. Mike, do you agree with that?
Yeah, you just can't. And I think by putting it anywhere but there over time that you'll see, like, there's just no chance.
No. All right, I want to get back a couple more comments. Mike, the Avalanche is goated. Please burn that hat stat. Have you guys seen so many knee-on-knee hits? A Toronto rookie was on his second ever shift and got hit by one, and Berube called out the player for being dirty. That's what disgusts me, Ray. When you go at, and I'm telling you, if you've had a knee injury, you just look at it differently than other people. And maybe that's part of my issue with the Stone hit, if I'm being honest with myself. You can't, Todd and I were just talking about this before the show started. You cannot explain what that's like, and especially like the journey back, like this last one that I had, it was years. I'm telling you, years before, and my leg still isn't right. I mean, really and truly, it still isn't right. But I mean, it took me years until like it became almost right. So, Mike, it makes me sick to my stomach, and this is where I tend to teeter towards the edge of the angry old man shaking his fist at a cloud. The lack of respect, the low hits, that infuriates me.
And as it's funny that's exactly where I was going to go, because when you sent me some of the things we could talk about today, you said the lack of respect and that neon knee hits, period. There is a small percentage of them that are just, unless you're playing the game at that speed, you just don't understand someone making a move at the last second and you're kind of stuck in the tracks and you go knee on knee with them. I have sympathy for that because they did not mean to do that. I had you lined up, you made a move, our knees collide. This hit the other night, and a majority of knee-on-knee hits are just a lack of respect for the people, and they're not controlling their body at that speed. There was no move. There was nothing that was happening. It was an irresponsible hit, and those are the things that need to be taken out of the game. They need to be, whether it's a suspension or whether it's answering the bell. Will Cousins have to answer that bell when it comes
out of the game. Pummeled out of the game.
Yep.
Tim said, I think this is in response, how could they not see the play? It happened in front of their bench. Tim, so I'm going to use the two examples that we talked about and try to point this out. The Chara Pacioretty hit was part of the play. The puck was right there. Okay. The puck was right there when Chara, the puck was the other way when Draper got hit by Claude. It was the unnecessary hit as he was going off on a change. So it'd be one thing if the puck was right there and the play was right there, but it was the end of a shift when a player was going off and it was a cheap shot in every sense of the imagination. So it's kind of funny. Maybe I could find the picture. All the heads are kind of turned that way. And Draper, again, 9 million times out of 9 million, a guy going to the bench off on a change isn't going to put up with a hit like that. So I understand your rationale, Tim, but you have to understand, where was the play at that time? If the play is down there, you can look at the bench and all the heads are looking to where the play is, while the play happened right where I'm looking at Mike. Does that make sense?
Yep. 100% it makes sense to me. I've been in that situation. I've seen that. And you have to think about the time that this happened, the generation that this happened, and things like this happen. And then it's like, oh, wait, he got that hurt over it, right? Like these kinds of hits and it almost takes can we say this was a generational hit? Hits like this happen and change the game and change the view on the game. And we start seeing things kind of get weeded out. At that time, you even look at it, it was just a push from behind. It happens in today's game, Sean. Mm-hmm. You don't automatically think that the push from behind is going to lead to that. So that also is part of it. It was something, the game was going on. It happened here. But then you look back and you're like, holy crap. I'll never forget. Playing not the same. I'm going to tell you right now, not the same, but playing beer leagues and our buddy Mark Johnson. In the flow of the play, all of a sudden Mark's on the bench and he's yelling at us because we didn't do something. We're like, Mark, what? He had no teeth, Sean. He had no teeth. Mm. He got a cross check in the mouth. We missed it. Two guys come together. Things like that happen in the play. But then you see what happened, and they did not obviously allow it to just slip by.
Austin said, speaking of McCarty Lemieux, I'm currently reading the book Blood Feud about the Wings Avs rivalry by the Avs beat writer. Is that Dater? Is that Adrian Dater? Correct me if I'm wrong. He's not a bad dude, by the way. And I was a kid, so I didn't realize how much of a nut Mark Crawford was.
Oh, yes. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
How about Scotty undressing him? Mark, I knew your father. He'd be horribly disappointed in you. Right?
Is there anything worse you could say?
Well, it depends who your dad was, right? If somebody said that to me, I'd go, thank you so much.
You understand.
Doing something right. If my dad's pissed off at me, that means I'm doing something right. God bless you, John. I think I broke his freaking neck. That's the Shanahan clothesline on Wah as well. Chara is a 50-foot monster. Greg, you remember that, though. That I thought that was the biggest bullshit excuse I have ever heard. Here is a cerebral, brilliant defenseman. Really. Chara was outstanding, a monster, okay? And when he I didn't know where he was. Oh, bullshit. Bullshit. You knew exactly where he was. Stop it. Everybody knows that. You're a quarterback back there. You have to know the whole ice. You have dibs on all 200 feet of the ice. Oh, I lost my mind. That was a good rant back in the day on the Fan, Mike. I lost my mind that day. I really did. Yeah. And Killer was twisting the knife trying to get.
Oh, we can do that. We know how to do that.
Ray said Gretzky had McSorley. Yzerman had Kosher and Probert. Matthews has Reeves. Does Detroit have that guy to go after Kucherov? No. Who's going to do it?
Rasmussen.
Okay.
I mean, that's and come on, go earn your 3.5 million. Seriously, fuck.
Dom Shine story is awesome. All the negativity and drama in the world was cool to see a nice story like that. Never give up. I'll never get tired of stories like that.
Awesome.
Never get tired stories like. Was Scott Stevens a cheap shot artist? That is a great question. Mike, let me go first. 30 years ago, no way. 30 years ago, no way. Today, he'd be out of the league.
Yep.
Seriously, he'd be out of the league.
Yep, 100%. He played by the rules of his generation. And when you, Paul Kariya, pass a puck and watch the pass, you're going to eat a shoulder. And those are the things that he did. But he would be suspended now. By nowadays terms, yes, he is.
Scott Stevens today would be kicked out of the league the way he played back then. Yes. Who's next? Gosh, what a sad.
Did he end that series right there?
Over. He took everybody's soul. He was like Santa, except there are no toys in his sack. He had a sack full of souls. He took every Wing's soul on that moment.
100%.
He took every soul on the Red Wing team. No chance for Quebec to get a team. Tom, I sadly agree with you. Sean, you're a bastard. Thanks, Tim. I've been called worse. How can New York have three teams so close to each other, but we Canadians can't have one in Hamilton or Quebec? I really wanted, do you remember Blackberry guy, Jim Basile? If he wasn't such a cuckoo, you may have had your wish. And I personally, for me, I love the idea of the Kitchener-Waterloo area. I just did. I thought that would be so cool to put a team up there.
Yeah.
I did. Damn it. Hamilton was always going to be a hassle because of Buffalo. Not because of Toronto, but because of Buffalo. I think that Hamilton was always going to be a hassle. But, Mike, as I recall it, I know for a fact, because I was working in the O at the time, and we were talking about it when we visited the venerable Odd. I know originally he wanted to put it in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, and then he switched to put it in Hamilton. And that was doomed from the start, because I don't think the Sabres would have put up with that for 1 second.
No, and you know it more than anybody, working that chain of that whole area doing games and stuff, where it would work, where it wouldn't work, and Hamilton just wasn't going to work. I mean, that got shot. That ended it real. It was almost a gentlemanly way of ending the conversation.
Tom said Battle of Quebec was one of the best rivalry back in the day. Man, if younger generation like Austin, you said, go do yourself a favor right now. Go on YouTube. Well, not now. Wait till the show's over. Good Friday Massacre. You'll thank me. You'll thank me later. Okay. You will legitimately thank me later. Will Utah choose the Mammoth? Seems like a no-brainer. I would think so. You got to drop the Utah Hockey Club, right? You have to drop the Utah Hockey Club. Nordique, great unis, everything about them. Bring them back already. I couldn't agree with you more. Rip Quebec. Sean introduced me. Oh, there it is. Sean introduced me to the Good Friday Massacre years ago. I pull it up every so often, having bourbons with the boys, and no one can believe it. It was
unbelievable.
I know you and I talked about it. We were in two different places. You're never going to believe this. It was a Friday night.
Yep.
It was Good Friday. And I remember sitting at home, and this is before like cell phones. Can you imagine if the text messages that would be flying? Like it was insane. It just the big brawl at the end of the period, and then before the third period even started. It was just, and the funny thing about that, and this is where I'll show my fandom, people forget Quebec was about this close to putting a nail in Montreal's coffin. They were up in that game. The Habs had a crazy third period, and they ended up winning that series in 6 games. Quebec was in control with a deciding Game 7 back in Le Colisée, which would have been nuts in Quebec City. And it just inspired Montreal, and they came out flying and ended up beating the shit out of them in the third period.
And if there were cell phones, we wouldn't have to say go to YouTube to watch it because everyone would have seen it because everyone's phones would have been blown up. And it's funny. I don't know why this just hit me, Sean, but it's funny as me and you sit here and sometimes we question how we came together. But think about that moment of the Good Friday Massacre and where we were and what me and you were both doing at that time. We were both watching that game. And I had to pull my dad into the room to witness what I was watching. Then he leaves, obviously, between the intermission, and I'm waiting. And as they come out, I'm yelling, Sab! Sab! And I had to go get him again and bring him back because I was at home watching that game. That's kind of what we did. So it's kind of funny that it just hit me that, like, and here we are today talking about it and having to tell people to actually YouTube that game.
Listen, I'm telling you point blank, when Larry Robinson made the beeline for Louis Slayer, my pants were around my ankle. I'm just telling you. I mean, I already love that man with every fiber of my being. But when Larry Robinson made that beeline towards Louis Slayer, I didn't even have to grab him. My pants just magically fell off. And I was running around my front room like a penguin with my pants around my legs. Look at me. I'm a penguin. Just so excited on that day. I had the little baby carrot was jumping out and everything. It was
little baby carrot. Oh, I remember. Did we talk to Nyland about that? And I mean, I was like, you guys had to have been like they had to take him off the ice and almost escort him out of the arena because the entire team was going after him and trying to get into the locker room to get him.
It's funny. I did. Sorry, we're getting off way on a tangent. So I did. Do you remember Stoney and Wojo used to have the radiothon? And I would always do an overnight shift. And one year I actually did it with Bob Probert. And then a couple of years, when I got to know Chelly and I did the thing. And it was so funny because if you think of so many of those moments back in the day, Chris Chelios had a front row seat.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about that. Yep.
I mean, it really is insane. Now he missed the height of the Wings Avs, but he was there in 2002. He was there for that series. And like we were talking about it, and I was like, holy crap, you were there. All these moments, like he had a front row seat and everything. And I remember him telling me, because we were talking about it, and it was funny because we had a laptop out there and we were watching these things, and he goes, geez, you got to remember, I'm a kid. I'm basically new to the National Hockey League. And I have all these guys just throwing punches everywhere. And he goes, they're all screaming shit in French. I don't know what the hell's going on. And I mean, it was just funny as hell to hear him talk about that. Our buddy, the coach, Kirk Hunter, who is your favorite to lose a franchise and who is your favorite to get a franchise? I don't think they're gonna contract anybody. I think the NHL doesn't like to admit failure, and we all know that Arizona failed. We all know that miserably, but they kind of passed it off and made it sound like it didn't fail. I know guys don't want to hear it, and I know, Mike, I told you this. I I think Atlanta's going to get another franchise.
You've said it over and over and over.
They might be next too, and I'm not being funny when I say that.
And part of it is the group of people that are there's a group in there that are gaining a lot of steam and who would like to bring that franchise to Atlanta.
A particular Michigan State fella.
Yeah, 100%.
So, I if I were a betting man, and I know people don't want to hear it, maybe the third time's the charm.
Oof.
But I think an Anson Carter-led consortium might be the next team in the National Hockey League.
And I once they ended up in Utah. I mean, who you like Kurt said, who are you going to take now? Like right now, everything's about where they're at. So maybe they need to go to Atlanta. You give it a few years and let's see what they do. And if they don't, maybe that's the magic elixir to have another team in Canada.
Tim, here's a good question. I know it's a what-if question, but do you think Lemieux would have done that if Probert was still a wing? Yes, because that was Claude Lemieux.
He's afraid of nobody.
Yeah.
That man feared nobody. Pep, he feared nobody.
Yeah, yes, he would have. He was just, and that's the funny thing. I mean, that's why you hear so many guys speak so highly of him, you know, like Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky speaks glowingly of him. That was just the guy that he was. He had almost an abnormal will to win. And and I think that got better as his career went on as well, because kind of what got him sent out of Montreal is he started to float a little bit and things like that. And I think once he got traded to New Jersey, he kind of found that fire that he had early in his career. Because Mike, you remember, I'm showing my age. Patrick Waugh was no doubt about it the Conn Smythe Trophy winner when he was 20 years old, but they don't win the Stanley Cup without 21-year-old Claude Lemieux. They don't win the Stanley. He was that good. He was that good that playoff.
Sean, I think you can say that about a few of the cups that he lifted.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No doubt.
He was at his best in the playoffs.
Scott Stevens equals Jack Tatum. I'm not going to argue with that. Same as the old NFL, Tim. I challenge people all the time. Forget about the 80s. Forget about the 80s. Forget about the 70s. Forget about, the old NFL films. Go watch a game from the early 90s and compare it to the NFL today. They're two different games. They are. They're two different games. It's just the way it is. I believe Mickey had the call too for the Good Friday Massacre, which makes it even better. It was Dick Irvin and Mickey, if I'm not mistaken, right? Were all three in there? Was Bob Cole in there as well? I don't know. But I know Mickey was there. There's no doubt about it. Larry Robinson, a gentle giant, but piss him off. Look out. Mark Messier's famous quote: Don't wake up. Don't wake up 19. Don't wake up 19.
Don't do it.
Somebody asked about Casper. Mike, we're all over the place. I love it. You guys, geez, I get to talk hockey. You guys haven't talked about Casper yet, but can I just say, I know we have a small sample size, but he seems like a playoff guy. I have no doubt that dude will lay out to block a shot. He scores ugly goals. He's really been a pleasant surprise. Duff Mike brought him up earlier as well. Early returns are fantastic. And I'm one of those people, I don't care what your background and pedigree is and what you're slated to be. That is of no consequence to me, because that doesn't mean that's what you have to be, but you have to like what you've seen out of him so far. My goodness gracious.
Absolutely. That line with him, Larkin, and Raymond, by far their top line, and by far one of the more exciting lines that we've seen in Detroit in a while. And it's funny when you see things like this happen, because guys like Casper get missed a lot, Sean, and you know this, where they come in, you're not the top six guy, you have to live in the bottom six for a while, and it's dirty and it's grimy, but then someone gets hurt, and then someone else gets hurt, and then someone else sucks in that spot. Now you get your turn, and you have to be able to turn your game from a bottom six defensive guy into that forward, that offensive guy that you were drafted for and you could do. And he's done that. Not everybody can do that. A lot of guys get stuck like a robot being a defensive guy. A lot of guys, Sean, don't ever get their opportunity out of the bottom six. If we could say, I had this conversation with someone the other day, how many bottom six NHLers are probably top six and really good, never got a chance? How many guys in the AHL never got that chance? Or maybe they got that chance and didn't do it that one time. You have to be able to do it. That's what's the most impressive to me to Casper. He got his moment and he's gone with it.
And you know what? It's a pleasant new thing around here as well, because how often have we talked at the Wings asking somebody to be something they're not? How about a guy being something he's not in a positive way, right? You know, I mean, playing one step up as opposed to being asked to play one step up. I mean, that's been the problem here forever and a day. This guy is not a top six player, but we're going to have him in our top six. This guy is not in a top four pairing, but we're going to go give him those minutes. That has been a problem forever and today around here. My goodness gracious. By the way, to your point, I say this, Darren McCarty was an absolute sniper in the OHL. Guy Carbonneau was huge in the Quebec Major. Kirk Maltby was a guy who scored. You know what? You do what you have to do to make a long career in the National Hockey League. It's that simple.
And you have to take advantage when you get the moment. And that's exactly what's happening right now.
Hey, when it comes time to get yourself a new house, you're buying, you're selling, or both, you need to contact Right Agent. Who do we recommend? Well, this lady right here. Drum roll, please. There she is, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets of Northville and has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business, so when it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buying, selling, first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Mike, we've done so much bullshitting today. There's a couple things I have to get to, but I don't want to disrespect the people making comments. We in Canada have Sportsnet for the Four Nations. Will you guys be able to watch it? Haven't seen anything advertised on ESPN. Mike, it'll be on CBC locally, and if I'm not mistaken, NHL Network as well, right?
I believe so, yes. And I love the fact that I have CBC. So,
and I know a guy that can catch every Sportsnet game too. I think you know that guy too, Mike.
Yes, I do.
Ray, knowing Gary is going to be on the Ocho after the cherry spitting contest. Eric said, "What's up, guys?" Adam said, "Rats don't care." That's a good line. Rats don't care. Starting a dynasty team, which former Red Wing from the 90s do you take? Nick Lidstrom. In today's National Hockey League, Nick Lidstrom. Without hesitation.
Not Fedorov?
I'll still go Nick Lidstrom.
Okay.
Because you could make the argument that Nick Lidstrom, and I would make this argument, was the greatest defenseman of his generation.
Yeah.
And I think his skill set and brain would be perfect for today.
100%. I mean, it's tit for tat. But what I would want to say is see how everyone out there's feeling is that Fedorov was on the second team for the was it the 25-year team that they're putting out there?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that surprised me. That really surprised me.
I was surprised at that as well. One of the most famous arguments ever in the history of WDFN, as you recall, maybe you heard the drop, "You're a liar," Brady and I yelling at each other. God bless him. Shout out to Brady. I'm so happy for you, but it was one of the dumbest arguments I've ever had that Sergei Fedorov was better than Mario Lemieux. It was one of the dumbest arguments. It was one of those arguments where, Mike, I shouldn't have taken the bait, but I was a lot more hot-headed back then, and I took the bait.
No, really?
Yeah. We had this question earlier, Coach Hunter asking it: Wings buyers or sellers? If they are buyers, I don't know what they can buy, because I would ask for that which you would not want to give up. Does that make sense? Go down the checklist. If any general manager with a half a brain in his head wants a young piece that he thinks can develop into something else, a year or two from now. And so I would ask for things that Steve Yzerman and this fan base would never want to give up. So because of that basis of elimination, I don't know what they could buy because, quite frankly, they can't sell.
So let's just go with it, Sean. Let's Casper, Larkin, Raymond, Sider, Johansson, Edvinson. You giving them up? That's what you have right now. That's what they're coming after. You think you're going to get anything for a Kane that can't stay healthy, has lost a step? I don't care what anybody says. He's only good on the power. You're not. There's nothing there, Sean. They've got nothing to buy with.
A lot of guys are saying 91, Sergey. I can't argue with it. I'll still go Lidstrom.
No argument.
Austin said, I played fantasy GM for fun. If the Red Wings decided to be buyers, I consider the situation pretty grim. But Brock Boser, if we can swing it with salary, what the hell is going on in Vancouver? Well, it's funny. Rutherford finally came out and said that which everybody knew, that there is a big rift between Elias and JT. And you know, for months, no, they get along fine, and they even played pretend at times and stuff. And when you have something like that, sometimes you just have to make a move, you know? 91, best two-way player in the NHL. Pretty hard to argue that. Which NHL player all time would you wish could have had an injury-free career and seen what could have been? Mary.
Lemieux.
Done. That was easy.
Simple.
That was easy. Buying just to bomb in the first round makes no sense unless Steve thinks he'll lose his job otherwise. Couldn't agree with you more, Adam. This team, I mean, unless they absolutely rob somebody for next to nothing, I can't imagine it. Big money though, with Elias, you're right. Mike, we have to get back on track. Couple things, okay? Connor Hellebuyck, local guy. Bobby Orr's a good suggestion as well. I mean, we all knew he's generally regarded as the greatest defenseman to ever play the game. How great and how much longer could he have gone with like serviceable knees? Connor Hellebuyck, local guy, literally grew up like just a few miles down the road from where I'm sitting right now and a few miles away from where you're sitting right now, Mike, is literally having an historic season. And it seems to me nobody is talking about it.
And it's a good question of why is nobody talking about it. I think I have an idea, but it's a little bit different. This guy has started off hot. He's had some great regular seasons, but not like this, where he's basically leading the league in every category a goalie wants to lead a league in, on top of all the metrics and all the broken down analytics of things. The problem is, and a lot of people are going to point to, Sean, 18-27 in the playoffs.
Yep.
So he's going to have this year. I'm taking nothing away from him, but we've had this conversation. Are you sold on the Jets yet? And I think we're both still no. And it's because you got to do it in the playoffs.
And I'll tell you what, I watched them the other night. They look so damn good. They really do. They look so damn good. And Kyle Connor, another local guy, is so drastically underrated to me, Mike. Am I saying that I'm going to put him amongst the best in the league or something like that? No, but this is a guy that just produces. Like he just does. I mean, over and over and over. Just for the sake of an argument, for people out there that don't know, Connor's leading in wins, in save percentage, and in goals against. He's got a 2.0 goals against average right now.
I think it's shutouts too.
It's insane right now. Ray, he's in Winnipeg, not Toronto or New York. I think that's part of it as well.
Absolutely.
Part of it as well. Hey, did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called our friends at Legacy Partners? Hockey fans, by the way. Hockey fans, pay attention to that. Our friends at Legacy Partners are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents, and they provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place, and yes, help save you some money at the same time. Chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're paying too much and you could be underinsured. So what are you waiting for? Give Legacy Partners a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today, 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quote. Mike, I can't believe how long we've gone tonight. I apologize. You have
And
to
not
get
only how long we've gone, but rambling.
I love it.
Right?
People
right?
want to talk tonight. That Cole wants to talk tonight. Look at him.
Hey, Cole, how you doing, buddy?
All right, so you and I are going to be busy the next few days. The Trenton Showcase, I always use the term the granddaddy of them all, is happening in, well, Trenton. And if you haven't heard Mike and I do games, Mike and I are going to be doing 2 games for the State Champs Network. Obviously, if I may, if you haven't heard me do something with the Whalers or with NTDP or Michigan State or when I was with the Carolina Hurricanes, you get an opportunity to hear it now. And my buddy Mike is one of the best analysts in the game. How's that?
Oh, wow. That thank you very much, sir.
No, I appreciate it.
But they should, if people haven't heard you call a game, it is a treat. And you guys got to get on. You got to listen to him. And as an analyst, he makes it so easy. So give us a listen.
What do we got? 6 o'clock, probably about 6:15. I'm guessing we have.
Yeah, that's what we said.
Catholic Central, a lot of people's number 1 in the state in Division 1, taking on a lot of people's number 1 in Division 2, Flint Powers. 2 great guys as coaches, Coach Cal, former Michigan player at CC, and Travis Perry at Flint Powers. And then the nightcap, probably Mike, 8:15, 8:30, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Trenton taking on Marquette. Shout out Doug Garrow and the Northern Michigan Wildcats. So 2 games. Eric says hello to you. 2 games will be broadcasting. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, and always an interesting game, that late Trenton game, because as teams start trickling out, they want to watch that game. And then Trenton always brings that crazy crowd that they have. So it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere to end a Friday night.
If you can get out there, though, there are a few games that start tomorrow night, and then it's literally – and when I say all day, it's literally all day. Mike, if I'm not mistaken, I think the first game goes at 7:15 in the morning, right? Isn't it something crazy like that? Like
I just had the schedule.
7:15, 7:20 in the morning.
Yep. I've got 7:30. We got GRCC Cap City.
Isn't that crazy? And then with Saturday, Northville's playing real early on Saturday, right? Get to watch one of the best young players in the state, Mr. McCallum.
Yep, 7:30 a.m. Sault Ste. Marie in Northville, and it's one of these showcases where East meets West, where North meets South. It is, as we like to say, Sean, getting all the top dogs under the same roof and playing.
It's so great if you get a chance to come out. Our friends in Trenton, honestly, they treat you like a king. Everybody, not just we idiots in the media, the fans, and certainly you get a treat out of it watching some great hockey. The high school product in the great state of Michigan is something near and dear to both Mike and my heart. So if you get an opportunity to come out and do it, we'd love to see you out there. If not, you can check us out on the State Champs Network, the YouTube page, the Twitter page. Where else is it, Mike? It's all over the place, right?
Is it on Instagram? Facebook?
Probably. I don't know. Eric said, could you get Cole a Michigan collar? Eric, you know me better than that.
Oof. And with that, we must go.
All right. One more thing. Mike, you can say goodbye, but oh, wait a second. Todd, put that up right now. Put that up. Put that picture up right now. Look at that pic. Look at that jersey.
Oh.
Gosh.
Well, that's why I got the hat, right?
That blue jersey, like no disrespect to the white. The white was good. To me, Mike, the blue jersey, gosh, is that beautiful. Look at that jersey. Honest to goodness. And I know most people tend to like the white better, but man, I love that blue jersey.
The blue is intimidating. The white made them look so freaking fast. I don't know why that is. That's just a fast jersey, but
yeah. All right. Hey, All About Catering LLC is a full-service caterer. Graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for, from 25 to 4,000 people, All About Catering will take care of you. Rick and his family are going to take care of you the way they took care of my family. Sometimes you can't do the cooking. Mike had a graduation party for his daughter. I know Mike. Mike wished he could do the cooking, but he couldn't. He has to shake hands and kiss babies. Same thing with me. So you know what? You get the pros to do it. And the pros from All About Catering, customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see their menus and all their 5-star reviews. Give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Mike, thank you. Always a pleasure. I can't believe what losers we are. We went an hour tonight. Todd, thank you. Thank you guys for joining us. And yeah, if you can't get out to Trenton, we hope you can to get out to watch some great Michigan high school hockey. Check us out all across the State Champs networks. We'll have some games for you this weekend. Mike and I, for Mike and Todd, I'm Sean. Bye.
What the Puck with Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Always Pushing Forward by Elliot Middleton. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.